over immigration continues to heat up, with two cases specifically taking center stage. KTVU's Christian Captain live tonight in San Francisco, where people did rally in support of one of the individuals being targeted right now by the administration. Christian.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. As you'd said, two major cases coming to a head at about the same time here. One for a man already deported to El Salvador, another for a man facing the threat of deportation. Now, ralliers did gather here earlier this afternoon in support of Mahmoud Khalil, who is facing the very real possibility of having his green card removed. A federal judge ruled Friday that immigration proceedings against pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil can proceed. Today, supporters of the Columbia grad gathered in San Francisco's streets, speaking out against his detention.
This is a dangerous precedent because if people can be charged based off of their speech, they can prosecute people for pro-Palestine speech, for anti-Trump speech, and anything like that.
Professor David Levine from the University of California School of Law in San Francisco said there are parallel cases. One in immigration court where the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, submitted a memo citing the Immigration and Nationality Act from the 1950s.
In the past, that's been interpreted very narrowly. What Secretary Rubio is doing with respect to Khalil is saying that any protest activity he might have engaged in at Columbia University amounts to a threat to foreign policy.
Levine said a federal judge in New Jersey will also weigh in on the legality of his detention.
That case is pending, and that is the case that allows Mr. Khalil's lawyers to challenge the determination that Mr. Khalil should lose his green card.
At the same time, the Trump administration welcomed El Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele to the Oval Office. Neither president said they could do anything to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who the federal government has admitted was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
David Levine said a federal judge is already losing patience with the Trump administration after the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government should be facilitating his return to the U.S.
She has been demanding daily reports. Ever since the Supreme Court issued that ruling, I think it was Thursday, she has been demanding daily reports from the federal government. What efforts have you made? What phone calls have you made? What did you do to try to get this man out?
A hearing in the Abrego Garcia case has been scheduled for tomorrow. Meanwhile, Khalil's legal team has vowed to continue fighting and have filed numerous petitions challenging his detention. We're live in San Francisco. Christian Captain, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Mike, back to you.
Christian, thank you. California Senator Alex Padilla, along with other senators, did send a letter to President Trump opposing his use of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport non-citizens. The letter says invoking the Alien Enemies Act does not make Americans safer. It endangers all of us by removing due process protections and ignoring the plain text of the statute. We urge you to abandon this decision. The senators also asked the president to provide them with updates on people deported through the use of the Alien Enemies Act. For more insight on the Trump administration's latest immigration moves, we did speak earlier with Bill Hing, professor of law and immigration studies at the University of San Francisco.
I'll tell you what's ridiculous about what President Bukele of El Salvador said when he was sitting right next to President Trump. He said, how can I bring a terrorist into the United States? How can I possibly do that? Well, two things. One, he's not a terrorist. And secondly, all he needs to do is say, Mr. Trump, can I bring him back here for you? And then Trump says yes. Well, voila, Mr. Abrego would be back in the United States. That's how ludicrous the statement was.
The Trump administration insists that it has no legal obligation to arrange for Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S. This is despite the U.S. Supreme Court order last week that the administration must facilitate his return.